Alec, I think it's important for several reasons. But first of all, I'd like to thank the university and the Alumni Association for putting this event on. It's particularly important, but also critical. We're going through changes in the country that suggest it's critical. It's important specifically because Henry King Stanford, who was the president when I came on board as his assistant and director of the Affirmative Action Program, actually started this process. And we saw an improvement and an increase not only in the number of students, but in faculty, administrators, and staff. So it's important to continue that tradition for the health of the university and the community. I think the first thing is really learning about yourself, but also recognizing the culture that you're a part of. I think one of the biggest mistakes we do make is not recognizing the culture. The culture is not always what we hope it will be, but we've got to be specific and acknowledge what it is. For example, when I was director of affirmative action programs here, the female faculty members and staff, and including department chair people, were not paid the same as men. And these were white women. It was almost like saying that the brothers, the sisters, the wives of the very white men who ran the university didn't acknowledge they should be paid equally. And under Dr. Stanford's direction, and with my insistence really as director of affirmative action, we conducted a study. We made direct physical dollar amount improvements to 18 administrators, 26 administrators, and 18 faculty members. And an example is that one of the chair people, Department of Education, was given a $4,000 increase just to be at the same level as the lowest paid white male department chairman. So the culture suggested something quite different. I thought I was being clever, and I said, I need to have the specific salaries that are paid and the specific background of that person, their educational experience, how many years they've been on the job, etc. The department chairman still signed off, said it was not unequal. You could look at the paper and see. But the culture suggested, well, these are women, so, we don't have to pay them that same amount of money. So that's what I mean about recognizing culture. The other is really realizing that we have a specific intention that drives us. If we don't have, we need to find one. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, really not even out of feeling left out, but out of a commitment to make sure everybody is included. All, from regardless of gender, race, etc. Of course, that's the essence of the affirmative action program. I was amazed at the absolute total inability to recognize the campus. I mean, it is just phenomenal what has happened. The buildings, the grounds, particularly the infill buildings, they're tremendous. Also, the growth of the schools, the School of Business, for example. It was an idea when I was here, not a building to represent it. And these were some of the ideas that came from Dr. Stanford. He was always looking for a way to improve both the quality and the access for everybody. And he would listen. I would go to him, I said, suppose the perpetrator, or whatever the problem was, I said, suppose the perpetrator was black and the victim was white. And then I would say, hold that thought. Now suppose the perpetrator was black and the victim, no, I switched it, was white. And he'd say, oh, I see what you mean. Because that would be a different, absolutely different way of handling it. Somehow the black person's action, whatever it was, would be magnified. And if it was a white person who perpetrated, it would be modified. We would look back to see, well, what psychological disadvantages or family experience did they go through that caused them to do this thing, but not with the black person. There were battles like getting the right level of appointment for faculty. We had faculty come into law school with many years of experience, but we wanted to appoint them as adjunct professors. And comparable white faculty, all lawyers, came in as full professors. And so these were just some of the examples that I was able to see and participate in during that time. I think the fact that there was indeed a basic commitment on the part of the leadership, in Dr. Stanford in particular, but also including Bill Butler. Without that commitment, it's hard to change the culture, and that's what the issue was. It's not unlike issues in many areas today. You can talk and talk and talk, plead and plead, but if there is not a willingness and a commitment to actually change the culture, it won't happen. I'm very hopeful that regardless of what's happening across the nation right now, I'm very hopeful. One, because there's enough intelligence out there to help our country to go in the right direction. The same thing is true in every community. In my hometown, in your hometown, in our city, in our government. And we've seen graduates from this university go out and do that. We've seen city attorneys come out of here, black, and many others. We don't have time to enumerate all of them, but that to me is what I look forward to in the future. Just hanging on to that hope and that expectation, and really believing that it's possible if I commit and if I stand up for something that I believe in and give back to the community.